It would just come down to a punishing game on the field. And if we could control the tempo of the game with our aggression, we would win. My job, I viewed it, was to keep together a fairly dysfunctional band of people, force them to do something they love to do in spite of themselves. And really, I viewed my job as being able to get the 10 best people on the field at any given moment. All the strategy and walking the fields and all the defense and offense and recruiting and watching people do what they do. The vast majority of mistakes made against us were before they even played. I mean, you could just see that 1, 2, 3, sometimes the whole team did not want to even play the game. Voluntarily sitting out, were not able to make eye contact, always looking around. You could really see that some of these guys didn't want to have it happen. Unfortunately, a part of the game back then was overshooting, and you'd have to put it on somebody and it would make them regret it so badly after that game that you would see it in their eyes the next game. They knew it was coming, and it's not just the overshooting, but it was the potential of being embarrassed in front of everyone by being run over so fast by such a powerful team. We met up in the late 80s, early 90s as a team called Scream and a team called the Lords of Discipline. We were kind of young and just getting started. The Lords of Discipline were very powerful, winning everything along the path. We started practicing against them, playing against them, got to be kind of friends, but then at a certain point they got in a big fight at a Lively Productions Chicago Open tournament. They had received a lifetime ban. Their captain at the time, Steve Copeland, and I began talking, and then we decided to merge the two teams in 1991. Some of the original members were, of course, myself, John Jackson, Gary Noblet, Steve Elbrecht, Rob and Ryan Northrup, Tim Brown, Fred and Donna Ike, Michael Carmen, Bruce Tognetti, Dave Becker, and then we had a few other players along the way, but that was pretty much the starting rotation. We first started playing out at Sherwood Forest in LaPorte, Indiana. We practiced out there for a couple of years. We opened Badlands about 16 years ago. And Bad Boys Toys was 4 or 5 years before that. We've been in business for 20 years here. So both became sponsors of the team, and we wound up playing all of our games at Badlands. We also were one of the first teams to begin shooting a lot of paint. Not so much paint that we weren't shooting paint to hit people. We were shooting paint at people to stop them from shooting at us. So if your bunker's being pelted over and over and over relentlessly in the woods, you can't come up, you can't shoot through it. You have to shoot over it or around it. So we would shoot enough paint just to keep people down. And back then we had Rose from Unique build us special harnesses so we could carry 10, 12, almost 16 pods on some of the back guys. And I remember Dave DeHaan coming over to us after a game that said that the Ironmen were running for their lives at the very break of the game, and they could not believe how much paint we were shooting at them. Well, it's because we didn't have to stop. We all had these ridiculously big tanks on our guns, and everybody had 12 pods. Practicing and learning how to play is its own entity. Actually being able to win is the hardest thing to teach someone how to do. We had a lot of athletic people that are used to winning in other sports, but we just could not gel in 91 or 92. In 93, once we won our first event, from that point forward, we just began to expect to win. And it was just a matter of blending all the different styles of play together, front guys, mid guys, back guys, insert players, left tape, center, right tape. And then we always had this philosophy of certain players are going to advance on an 80% risk of making it versus a 20% chance of not. And other players will reverse that and advance on a 20% chance of making it and an 80% chance of not. And of course, there's a whole percentage spectrum for doing that. And you have to have a good blend of players on the field that are willing to run the risk of not making it, but when they do, the reward is great. All our training, all our practices really involved and revolved around just playing against each other or playing other teams. We would play other local guys, the Enemy, the SOBs, Thunderstruck, anybody around here that would come and play us, because there's no other pro team almost all the way to the Rocky Mountains or New York City. There's no one to play against around here. So we'd always play against these guys, and what we would do is we'd back people out. So we would play 8 on 10, 7 on 10, 6 on 10, until it would be a fairly balanced game. And then if we were winning these games 6 on 10, we knew we had a world championship team ready to play. And that I would say that's the vast majority of our practice sessions were just that. Almost never play against each other. If we did, it would result in a fist fight 100% of the time. As far as on-the-field success, we almost always ran 4 people on the right tape, 2 people in the center, which was Spud and Gary, 4 people on the left tape. That was our average breakout. Anytime things necessitated, we would swing 2 guys left or right. Sometimes we would swing 3 and leave 1. But every single move was designed to be as far up the field as fast as possible. The philosophy was we don't want to fight for it, we just want to run and take it right out of the break. So almost all the time, both tapes and possibly the center would try and take your bunkers from you at the start of the game. That, coupled with our communication and the aggression of everybody knowing we were coming no matter what, we were coming forward, we would see a lot of games we'd won before the other team even got on the field. You could just see it in their eyes. They did not want to play. They knew it was about to happen. At World Cup, one year, I want to say 96, we scored 1,200 points out of 1,200 possible points. Just smashed everybody. Nobody had a chance. Of course, I get credit for being the captain, but truly Gary and Spud are the leaders of the team. Gary on the field, field knowledge, generaling people around, absolutely redefining what a back player was for his day. Gary was always able to put the game together for us and see the whole field, front to back, side to side. I would say definitely he was our on-the-field leader. Spud was just the absolute spark plug, the most motivational guy I've ever had the pleasure to be around, on or off the field.
Let's go. You want something, me, you take it. Let's go.
Woods ball was definitely defined to a large extent by the back guys. They really kept the front and mid players alive, and they were able to see and kind of general everyone around. We were really lucky that we had some of the best back players that have ever played the game. We got to put them all on one team. And Gary, of course, like I already said, and then Todd Adamson. We were able to pick up Todd along the way. And he kind of picked up the ball where Gary left it and took off. Todd was a little more mobile. You don't want to call anybody that overweight mobile, but he kind of was. And Todd was just lucky and a great shot and really made stuff happen. Brought a lot of aggression to the field. And the two of them, when they got to play together, were an unbelievable duo, just crushing people. And then we had Heavy D came in, Heavy played some back, and he was incredibly fast for a big guy. People would never have expected the speed out of him. And again, other people we've put in the back position, we're very dominant back players over the years. Billy Saransky, we picked him up. He had played a little bit with Image, played with Quick Max off the West Coast. He moved to Chicago to play with the team, and he became the manager of Badlands for a few years. Billy is one of the rare individuals like Chris Lasoya, like Mike Bruno, that have timing. And we all wanted it, we all desired it, but that ability to kind of triangulate where everybody was shooting, what was happening on the field, put the whole game together in a split second, and make that bunker move, or a double bunker move, or just an advancement to a key point. Few people have ever been better than Billy Saransky, and probably never will be. Unfortunately, we lost Billy to the Ironman towards the end of his career when the X-Ball days came around, but definitely one of the best players that's ever played on this team.